Welcome to podcast 145. Can you believe it? 145?
Wow.
I don't feel that old.
We're not 145. Just the
Okay.
podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are going to take a moment to introduce ourselves. I am Amy Ashley Rakowski. Who else do we have in here?
I'm Tiffany Stuffy Nose. Oh, wait, sorry. Tiffany Amneris Spence.
And I am Colette Dexella Murphy.
We're going to talk about free realms today as the noisy truck drives by. Today is March 26th, and we're live. But we're going to release this on all of our other avenues, iTunes, the podcast page, YouTube, tomorrow, March 27th, 2013. So we promised to talk about free realms, and that means we're going to talk about St. Patrick's Day, Hero Rises, Rumble Dome. We have an interview with Steve George, and we're also going to share our Ask the Audience segment, and we're going to talk about how we played free realms.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, shall we get started?
Yeah.
Let's get started. Free realms. Hooray.
Wow.
That's impressive. All right. So, St. Patrick's Day. How long do the players have left to complete this content?
It runs through the 31st.
It's not very much time.
No, well, it's just for St. Patrick's Day, which was typically one day.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It started on the 15th, runs through the 31st.
So that's Sunday, so we get one more weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
And the good news is our awesome and incredible fan sites are there to help.
Oh.
So I actually was just playing this quest a few minutes ago. I have not yet found a pot of gold, but did find on Free Realms Insider a thread called Pot of Gold Guide. O with an apostrophe. Mystic Mayhem also has a thread called Where the Pots of Gold Are. So if you need help finding the pots of gold, both of those sites definitely have guides. I did not take a moment to check out our awesome wiki sites, which are Free Realms Sam's wiki and Wikia, freerealms.wikia.com. So I'm not sure if they have them up yet, but if not, the cool thing about wikis is that you can contribute. So send it in or add it, whatever you want to do.
All right. Well, we'll link those handy-dandy little guides in the show notes
Awesome.
for you guys so that you can complete it before Sunday.
Yes.
So what else do we have? Hero Rises.
Hero Rises.
So, Tiffany, what can you tell us about Hero Rises?
Well, I'm not going to tell you too much because it would spoil our interview that's coming up.
Spoiler alert!
But it is just basically sort of a new way to work your way through the lore of Free Realms, which a lot of players have been asking for. Mm-hmm. Currently, we all just recently logged in and started a new character just to give it a check out. And it sort of guides you through some basic essentials of movement and combat, and then refresh my memory.
Well, so I remember starting in Free Realms back in beta, and it's such a different experience now, the way that it walks you through. You get to experience all the different, like, how to harvest, how to mine, how to craft things, and then it takes you to different areas and really helps you figure out what your options are in the game. The part that I am on right now, I just finished the first sort of main part of the story, and now I'm back in Sanctuary, and I'm learning about all the different jobs that I can play, which is really cool, because a lot of times, like, when I first got started, I picked a job and stuck with it, and max leveled, and was like, all right, that was fun. And so now that I'm starting a new character, it's really cool to be able to look at it and go, oh, they're going to explain to me all the different types and things like that. So
That's cool. Yeah. I've been playing through it a little bit, and now I'm in the Farnham area and smelting and doing all the mini games there. And
I just did a bunch of that, and I realized you could keep going forever and ever, so I was just breaking free to go go finish my quest that starts in the kind of tutorial section of going to deliver a message to the Queen. But then I got sidetracked by Lucky Chance McXander, our adorable leprechaun Robgoblin. So
yeah, if you have ADD, Free Realms is a good place to have it, because there's lots of stuff to do.
Yeah. And so one of the new things that is really cool with this is the Hero's Journal. What did you guys think of the Hero's Journal?
Stickers!
Yeah, the stickers. Oh my
Sticker
goodness.
book.
Oh my goodness. So what I thought was really cool was, first of all, it gives you the map that sort of shows you how you're literally a visual of going through the storyline. And what's cool is until you complete an area, it's just a question mark. Like, you would see the normally above the different NPCs' heads. And then once you finish an area, it turns into a face or an image or something. So it's kind of cool to watch yourself go, okay, I've completed this, or I'm in the middle of that. And then the stickers on the side, which are sort of the bonus quests to collect stuff. And if you are a collection junkie, like I am, any of our games, if there is something shiny or something to collect, I am all over that.
Well,
so
I was a sticker book girl as a little girl, so that just that helps me out. I love that.
Yeah, it's really cool. So, and as the new content is released over the course of the next year, there will be more sections to the journal and more things to unlock, more stickers to get. So
awesome.
It's really cool.
All right, so we have news, not just from Free Realms, but from all of our games. So shall we take it away?
Sure.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Okay.
We're good. So Tiffany's going to share Free Realms news with us.
Okay. So, wait.
You're right here.
I'm right here.
Mhm.
Sorry. Yes, our news, which I was just pointing like, are we skipping this, is that Rumble Dome is officially open.
Woo!
This is the 5th set in the Free Realms TCG, opened last week. New cards, new loot, and a new story. Get in game and check it out. Plus, later in the podcast, we've got an interview to tell you about the new Hero Rises content and more.
Ooh, and more.
Bum, bum, bum.
Awesome.
All right, so let's talk about some of our other games really quick. I will get us started with DC Universe Online. And Origin Crisis, which is our next DLC pack in DCUO, is right around the corner. So make sure, if you're interested in that you are following at DCUO, as well as creative director Jens Anderson has a Twitter account, and his is at SPYTLE. Both of those on Twitter for early teasers like, who is the council? Which I forgot to ask Meps before we came on the air, but I really want to know now. And then stay tuned for our official announcement.
In PlanetSide 2 news, account-wide unlocks are coming. So what does this mean for your characters? You need to check out the FAQ on planetside2.com/news. There's a really great FAQ on what happens to my character, what does this mean for me, and all of that is outlined for you.
That sounds really cool. I don't even play PlanetSide 2 actively because it kind of makes me motion sick, but that sounds really cool because I kind of have an idea of what that means.
Yeah.
So, Clone Wars Adventures has some news.
No way.
Yes, it does. In just a couple of weeks, those of you that are looking for more combat encounters in Clone Wars Adventures will get to see the new Felucia Combat Zone. And you can keep an eye on your favorite Clone Wars news on our website, our Wikia page, which is clonewarsadventures.wikia.com, and the SOE Twitter. Yeah.
And new forums.
And, oh, actually, that's for Free Realms and Clone Wars. They both have new forums.
Mm-hmm.
Yay.
Yay!
They're pretty, they're shiny, they work. You can actually search things.
And if you haven't been to the forums in a while, like since we transitioned over, you need to make sure you go in and log in, get your name.
Yes, go pick out what name you want, even if you don't plan to post very often. Go pick out your name. And it's awesome.
All right.
All right, so in EQ2, make sure that you are tuned in to Twitch TV again this week on Thursday, March 28th, because we are going to be having a webcast where we're going to start discussing the lore behind our next game update, which is game update 66, Scars of the Awakened.
Woo!
So I am super excited to get started in the story. This is a continuation of the Velius storyline. And there are all sorts of really cool and creepy things going on in EQ2. And then on Friday, it is Bristlebane Day, which I think is such a fun holiday. And I can't say much more, but I will say that this is a Prime holiday with some rare items being introduced.
Awesome.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Wow.
And just as a reminder or a refresher for those who haven't done it, Bristlebane Day runs one day only, right?
Well, there is special stuff for Bristlebane Day that is one day only, and that is on Monday, April 1st.
Okay.
There is other content that will start on Friday the 29th and go through the 11th.
Okay.
So there's some stuff that runs through, but the first, there's important stuff that
Got
you
it.
want to be hanging out for.
Is that the stuff that is Prime holiday stuff?
That may be some of it.
That's, yeah. All right. All right, and Dragon's Prophet, a lot has been going on, actually. That Facebook page has been, wow, craziness. So we've entered into our technical beta testing phase, and we'll be allowing VIP beta users starting on March 29th, which is this week. To increase your chances of getting into beta sooner, hop on over to Dragon's Prophet website and purchase one of our unique dragon packs.
Awesome. Those are really cool. If
Yeah.
you look at the different options, it's a really neat feature that they've got going.
Yeah.
Cool. In Pax Nora news, we are excited to announce that Pax Nora is the newest game to join our official lineup of wikis.
Very cool.
These are at wikia.com. Check it out at paxnora.wikia.com. If you are a Pax Nora player, pro, even a novice, come contribute and learn something while you're there.
Because their new community manager really needs it.
Yes, she does. She played through some of the scenarios yesterday and got beat royally. It was sad.
Alrighty.
All right, so in Vanguard news, in order to bring our community closer together, we're actually going to be merging the Halgar and Telon servers. So that's going to take place on April 4th. At 10 a.m., we're going to begin the process. It usually takes about 24 hours. That's an approximation. More details will be coming, but we've also posted an FAQ on the Vanguard site about the merge, and a link will be provided in the show notes.
That's right. And then Wizardry Online, you guys are getting a new high-level dungeon. So get ready to explore Roswald Deep Fort.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so get more details on that. WizardryTheGame.com, there's an awesome new article about this really cool dungeon.
Yeah, there's an article that sort of explains the whole dungeon, and then I posted a reminder yesterday that has a sneak peek at some of the NPCs that are in there. That are these creepy looking little things. So check that out if you are able to play an M-rated game.
Woohoo! So that's all the news that we have for you today. Now we want to talk about Rumbledome.
You need like an echo effect.
Okay, first thing I want to note is we talked about Rumbledome a lot in last week's webcast on March 24th, which I did give you a link right there. But if you're here right now, you can actually check it out. It's the first link on this page that you are on. So, what can you share with us, Miss Emners?
I don't want to do too much because it is on the other broadcast, and Mark Tuttle, who is the executive producer, also known as MK. I actually don't know how he pronounces it, but every time I see him, I say MK.
Okay.
On the forums. He's going to kill me. He shared some news throughout the last few weeks on the forums as well, and we did some teasers and spoilers about cards, and there is a new play, I don't think the word is, play element, a way to play.
Like
that's
almost like game
style?
feature.
Yeah,
game style.
called Plunder.
Ooh.
And you can just sort of take that word and run with it as to what it means. So definitely want to check that out if you've ever played the TCG. I know for a fact that there's some really cool loot that goes with this. Some cool hats, a Rumbledome lot.
Ooh,
Yeah,
very
so you
cool.
can make your own Rumbledome and other really cool characters and costume. Well, not characters, but costumes.
Neat.
Pets. All kinds of stuff. It's awesome.
Wow,
Very cool.
That's cool.
All right, so we're going to get into our interview for this podcast with Steve George. He's going to give us more info on Hero Rises, the hero's journey, plus he's going to talk about his history at SOE and more. So let's go to that.
Hi everyone, this is Tiffany M. Naris-Spence, and I'm here with Steve. This is Tiffany M. Naris-Spence, and I'm here with Steve George, producer of Free Realms and Clone Wars, and we're going to catch up a little today on what's going on with Free Realms. Hi Steve.
Howdy.
Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
So, just to start us off, why don't you tell us a little about yourself, like how long you've been working at SOE and what games you've worked on?
Okay, well, I started at SOE probably about roughly 15 years ago, back during a project called Tannerus, which was our online tape
Wow,
battle.
yeah.
I'm pretty old school here.
Those that have done the tour have seen the Tannerus server over in Building 3. That
Oh, yeah,
is,
the
like,
refrigerator
the size
size.
of this room.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
That cost like $1 billion.
It did, and it had like less RAM than our personal PCs have now.
Our cell phones.
Yeah.
So I started off by running tech support. That was my main duty, and I worked on Tannerus and EverQuest through launch.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, I had moved over to PlantSide as an associate producer. That was my initial
Oh, okay.
jump into producership.
Did you actually
I
move
guess.
to Missouri with the team?
No, I was commuting back and forth from
Oh.
Missouri for about a year and a half.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that was
Those that don't know, when
rough times.
PlanetSide launched, most of that team was in the St. Louis
Yeah.
area, weren't they?
Yeah, I was involved with that when it was literally like 3 guys, pretty
Yeah,
much. It was
wow.
a really small team back then. And about a year and a half into that, I did a switch over to EverQuest 2 project, and that was at the launch. I was at the beginning of EverQuest 2,
Right.
all the way through the development cycle of it, and a few expansions on top of that. And after that, I ended up on free roams.
So there's very few of our games that you haven't had your hands in.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much.
That's really cool. And 15 years, that's probably one of the longest running records of anybody I know here. So
Yeah, that's
pretty
up
good.
to you can get a good idea of what my age is.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Based
I
on
think that makes you older. Your employment here longer than some of our kids are. Yeah, not gonna go there. Because mine too. I've been here 7 years, but I'm sure we have younger than 7-year-olds playing some of our games.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us specifically about your history with Free Realms.
So I moved to the team during the initial development phase, and I remained there all the way through launch. And I was an associate producer. I was in charge of all sorts of things like a lot of random stuff like feeding the team during late night crunches. I was in charge of the art schedule. That was my primary job. I was the schedule guy for the art group, and I also worked with external developers who did some work for us on some of our mini games and such things like that.
Did you have a hand in the chef job since you were feeding the team?
No comment.
That one's designed after Steve.
Then I bounced around to a few projects after that, and I found my way back to Free Realms,
Awesome.
which was
You came home.
really cool. I came back.
Aw.
I was a lost puppy.
So do you have any fun or crazy stories that you can share with us about the Free Realms team?
Crazy stories, as in like the smelly bottle of pickles that ends up behind people's screens randomly
Oh, yuck.
that should be thrown away. No, I don't have any stories.
Can you
like
actually smell it? This sounds familiar.
That. It looks worse than it smells.
Oh, no. Oh, I'm not even. I have
No,
stories about refrigerators when people leave the company and they forget to empty their fridge.
Exactly.
Is that what this? Yeah.
Exactly one of those.
Reminder, everybody out there, if you leave a job and you leave a fridge, please empty it. Unless you just really want to be mean. So you were working under or with Clint, who's Cobra Jet. I actually never spoke with him about that, but I assume it is Cobra Jet, right?
Yeah, it's been cool. Yeah, that's been his name online for
Okay.
many years now.
Yeah.
He's got.
So you worked with him, and then as he moved on to another project, you've stepped up. But now that he's not your boss, do you have any dirt you want to dish on him?
Dirt, not necessarily, because Clint is actually a really close friend of mine. Funny thing is, we both share a love for Formula One racing. We're actually up at 2 a.m. in the morning, watching the race on one screen and having Skype running on the other side, chatting with each other. And we're usually nerding out over ridiculous things like the benefits of KERS versus DRS. You guys can Google that if you like.
Wow.
But
That's
it's pretty
serious.
nerdy stuff.
That's awesome. So let's go ahead and talk about what's new and what's upcoming with Free Realms, because there's a lot of stuff going on these days. And first up, I just wanted to ask you to tell us a little about Hero Rises, which we have just launched. So by the time this goes out, which is a week or so from when we're recording, everybody should have really gotten their hands on it.
Yeah.
So can you tell us, like, where did the idea come from? What spurred it on, and what was the problem, or was there a problem that you guys were trying to solve by adding this content?
Yeah, so Hero Rises, it's all about tying together all the cool things that Free Realms is and presenting it to new and existing players in a more cohesive manner, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
We felt that Free Realms kind of lacked the sort of big bad guy, and players needed a good reason to engage in the storyline. So this is where the whole Gloam Overlord kind of pops into play
Right.
during the introduction. And, we took a lot of things from Sunstone Valley and the Gloam Invasion on top of that, and kind of used that data when we were designing out how Hero Rises was going to function.
That's awesome. It's really fun to like have an insight into your brain process behind all of this. So on a personal level, what's your favorite part about Hero Rises?
So I really like what we've done with the new tutorial. The reason is it's short, it gets to the point, and the reason why it's high on my list is because I always feel that new players come in our game and they're overwhelmed with all the different things we introduce to them.
Right.
You can cook, you can fish, you can race, you can play a TCG, you can do combat. And I've always felt we need to kind of dial back that a little bit and present things to the player in a more digestible manner.
Yeah.
That's the idea. So starting with the new tutorial and the initial quest line involved in it, I feel like now we're giving them the right amount of guidance, and then, before we toss them into the whole wacky world of Free Realms,
Which is a really big world.
Yeah.
So the Heroes Journal is also new, and it's kind of a newly revamped version of the old Quest Journal.
Correct.
So let's talk about that, and want to introduce it to the players that don't know what it is. Tell them how it works and how it came about.
Yeah, so the idea of the journal itself was to present the players the story that grows over time, and we figured presenting it in a chapter mode made most sense to us. So for us, we could bring we could build a chapter, we can get it to the players quickly, as opposed to doing the entire storyline over the course of many months and dumping it on at one time. And for players, they could digest this stuff in smaller chunks and have something to look forward to on a monthly basis.
Right.
What that does too is it gives us the flexibility to adjust the storyline as we go.
Yeah.
If we find that one thing works better than something else, then we can kind of gear our coming stories to kind of follow that pattern. And if we decide to do side stories and such, we can always add new chapters to the book that kind of go off track a little bit and give you something unique to experience.
It sounds really fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys come out with in the coming months. And it definitely speaks to something that we've been doing in a lot of our games, which is doing a lot of tracking just to see player behavior, what they're interested in, what they're not enjoying, not clicking
Yes.
on. So
Very
this should
important.
help guide everybody into the fun part of all the things in the realms. Now, I've also seen some of our new holiday-themed content. As we're recording, the St. Patrick's Day content is already live with Lucky Chance McXander, the little fun leprechaun Rob Goblin. He's so adorable. And we've seen some players reporting some other things, but let's go ahead and talk about St. Patrick's Day first.
Okay, so well, first of all, our creative director wouldn't give me the gold pot locations when I was testing it, which made it really difficult for me. So I had to find them just like everyone else did.
Yeah, that's
just
a really
so you guys all
thorough
know that.
test.
Oh, geez. And it was kind of tough, but I did enjoy the challenge, actually. It was kind of fun. He's on my payback list, though, just so you know. When I walk by his office, I throw a handful of pennies at him every day.
I like that idea.
Kind of like the whole lucky coin from the pot thing. Just that's what you get for.
By the way, I happen
me
to know
work.
what his personal kryptonite is, so if you ever need that information, just let me
Please
know.
pass it on. Should we share it with the public?
No, it's not. I won't throw him under the bus yet. We might need him at SOE Live this year. Okay, so as I was saying, there's some other stuff people have seen, and particularly it's like egg coloring kits in the marketplace.
Yes.
You want to give us a little hint?
Hint, how's about this? Every person who purchased our little one station cash mistake is going to be attacked by ravaging evil bunnies pretty soon.
Wow.
And don't say I didn't warn you about that.
Ravaging evil bunnies. This is getting better and better. Okay, so St. Patrick's Day, and then egg coloring kits, and we would be completely neglectful if we didn't talk about a really important upcoming date. Yes, the 4th birthday of Free Realms.
Okay.
And I see that I have a typo in my notes here because I said Cakezilla. That's my fault.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about Godzilla on the team yesterday and the history of movies and such. So, Cakenstein. Are we going to be able to see him again soon?
Yeah, he's coming back to trying to ruin the party for everybody again this year, like he always does. And there's going to be a lot of cool rewards and prizes. There's things like balloon weapons and balloon hats and fireworks and such.
It's always a fun time.
Yeah, it's always fun.
Yeah.
And that goes for the course of, I think, a month typically.
It did last year, which was my first year on the game. So looking forward to that. Before we cut out, is there anything else you want to tell the players?
Well, yeah, Free Realms has a very dedicated development team that absolutely loves the creative freedom they're given. We're all very aware of your guys' wishes, and trust me when I say that we're listening because it's what you guys want that we build for you, basically.
I think a lot of players know that when they see something come in and they go, I suggested that in the forums.
Sure. I've seen that many times.
Yeah, I have too.
So on a side note, there is a particular discussion thread that recently caught my attention, and that was something regarding dresses in the forums. It tends to be a hot topic on how users would love to wear dresses. Well, I just thought it was interesting. I just want to say that.
Okay. I may have to go take a look at it again.
So,
one final thing is we're going to be seeing you at SOE Live this summer, right?
Yes, awesome. I'll be there. I've been there before. I think I was there during the initial Free Realms launch when we were demonstrating that for everybody.
Yeah, it was a big year. We had all those big mushrooms and things. And
yeah,
I think they're in a warehouse now, but they're really cool. So since you have been before, we've kind of got a theme this year going for our SOE Live preparation, which is helping each other out, people that have been and haven't been, and giving tips. So do you have any tips that you can share?
Tips?
Like, just about Vegas or about traveling?
Well, I'll tell you this thing. Don't gamble. Save it for station cash.
There you go. That's a good idea.
That's my best tip.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming to talk with us today. We're going to wrap this up and send it back to the live podcast.
Cool.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
Hi, everyone. This is Tiffany M. Nara Spence, and I'm here with Steve George, producer of Free Realms and Clone Wars.
And we're back with a little bit of loop in there. Thought we turned that off.
No, it's just deja vu.
Deja vu. Oh, Sam.
I liked his advice about SOE Live. I should remember that myself.
No gambling, save for station cash.
No gambling, save it. Yep.
All right, so we're at our Ask the Audience segment, we posted on the Free Realms forums, what is your favorite quest line and why? Since Heroes Rises is more focusing on the storyline of Free Realms, and there is so much really cool storyline in Free Realms, I wanted to ask about that. So, Adwin Caster says his favorite quest line in Free Realms is Chapter 1 series. The Chapter 1 series, he says, hands down. The best one in particular being the Queen's Last Hope, where we get to fight Joffrey. It was such an interesting quest series, felt like there was some real purpose to playing, and it really drew me into the game. He also has a second and a third, I think.
His second favorite, he says, is the Black Spore Swamp quest series, which I agree. I tend to not like dark and creepy areas, but Black Spore I like.
You like vampires.
Details. Anyway, Edwin Caster says that it was the Black Spore Swamp, liked it because it was mysterious, spooky. Consumed by the Past was their favorite in the series, the one where we fought Lukov. And then the end of the series leaves you wondering what kind of evil forces lurk on the Isle of Tears, which is always kind of fun, I think, when you're in a world like Free Realms that does grow and change when you get to the end of a series and you know that there's sort of more just beyond your grasp.
Yeah. Miss Maryville is sort of like that, where you get there and you're like, it's so bright and cheery, and then you go through this storyline and you're like,
wait,
something's not right here. Yeah.
I live in the It's Bright and Cheery world.
It's bright and cheery. Have you done that quest line?
If I have, it's been a long time.
Yeah, it's not very bright and cheery.
No, maybe I'll just refrain from that.
Do you want to... Oh, he says those were quest series, though. If I had to choose just one quest out of the entire game, I would have to pick Salmonella's daily quests. I don't really have to explain this one, do I?
Oh, no.
Logan also...
Logan.
Oh, is that like an iPhone? He's an iLogan.
Or like iCarly.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I see.
I see.
You read it.
Okay, Logan says that his favorite is Chapter 1. And he doesn't give a reason why, but we can assume it's probably similar to everybody else's agreement. I know a lot of people on the forums talk about Chapter 1 and they're excited about the next chapter to come, so stay tuned.
Well, it almost feels like Heroes Rises is going to touch more on it because you get to go see the Queen.
Yep.
So, yeah.
More to come.
All right, so playtime.
Yes.
We've been playing Free Realms.
Yes.
And we want to talk about it. So, we all made new characters and checked out how... I mean, like, I love the tutorial, the old school tutorial.
Like the original beta tutorial?
Yes, where you got the grrr, arg.
Yes, grrr was the best.
We actually turned that into, like, an audio file for our cell phones for a while, but here in the office, we're such geeks.
And then there was another tutorial that was sort of a second version more recently, and then this one is the brand new one. Which I found really interesting because this one, when you start with the beginning of the hero's journal and the Hero Rises information, combat's like the first thing you do, and that was not the way that it was way back in beta. Like, combat wasn't where you started.
Well, and it was a choice. You didn't even have to do it if you didn't want to.
You did in the very, very, very first one where you were in the little birthday party pin.
Oh, yes, you're right.
You had to fight the goblins.
That's right.
But it was very simple.
Yeah.
Wasn't quite as complex or dark as it is now.
So, listeners, and maybe even if you're in the chat or when you're watching this later, you can put feedback on the forums. These two did not notice that the mob, the boss that you fight at the end of that, before you get released into the real world, to me it looked like a drama mask with tentacles.
And as theater kids, we are epic fail for missing.
Yes, I am. Because all three of us are theater kids.
I've been watching too much Doctor Who, so it just reminded me of something from Doctor Who.
But it kind of creeped me out. But it was cool looking. Yeah. It was cool looking, but creepy. And I wanted to comment on that. If anybody else noticed that thing looked like a drama mask with tentacles. So I liked that it was linear and that you really got to know the movements without it being too much like a tutorial, and you were immediately gripped by the storyline with you're the person we're waiting for and come help us and that kind of thing. What about you?
Yes.
So helpful.
No, it was fun. I'm not as much of a combat person, so it was probably not my personal choice of how I would love to be introduced to the game, but I know it's what a lot of players like, and those that don't, it goes quickly. And then you get hopped into the Cobblestone Village. Is that right?
No, the farmer. Well, yes, it is Cobblestone Village.
Yes.
But you start with
The farm.
Cletus.
Yes.
Yes. We were all giggling over Cletus.
He's actually, I think, the third person you meet, but he's my favorite so far.
Yeah. So that gets you into mining and
Cooking.
Yeah.
So
And Pappy. Don't forget Pappy Salt.
Yes. Yeah. It's a nice. I agree. I'm sort of in the middle. Whereas I liked doing the combat, but it did surprise me that it was where we started. However, once you got through that area, which didn't take much time, then it became all about all of the different things you can do in Free Realms. And I think, especially for new players, if you've never played, or it's been a while since you've played, or been a while since you started a new character, it can be kind of nice. Like, I have my one that I started, on day one, who has her places she likes to go and things she likes to do, and that's that. And this was a nice reminder for me to be like, oh yeah, you can do that. Oh yeah, I never tried that before.
Yeah.
So I like that about it.
Yeah.
And I should also mention that for those players that already have characters, you don't log in and automatically get thrown into a new tutorial. It's only for a new character.
Yeah.
And if you're not interested in that, you never have to even participate in it. Just keep going with what you're doing, and there's not really any change except for the hero's journal, which we talked about. And
Get stickers.
And you can get stickers.
All right. So we've talked about our playtime. We got to wrap up.
Okay.
Oh, I know. So we thank you guys for coming, especially those that came for the live show. And we thank you guys that are, watch us later or listen later.
Of course.
We hope you enjoyed our interview with Steve. And if you see him at SOE Live, be sure to talk to him about his love for Formula One racing. Clint, too, because they like to do that together. Let us know how we're doing at podcast@soe.sony.com. And we're going to see you in 2 weeks because we're going to talk about EverQuest 2.
Woohoo!
All right. Yeah. Good.
Sony.